Alright boys, Quincy weapons are kind of in a weird state right now where you can't really tell what's good and what's not. So in this video, I'm gonna be helping guide you guys in the right direction. Just know a lot of these are interchangeable, and yeah, let's get right into the video. But before that, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So let's get right into it. Alright boys, welcome to the very first weapon of the video, and this is arguably the worst weapon in the entire game, to be honest, and that is the Quincy Glock. The weapon actually used to be pretty meta. When the game first dropped, everybody was on this. Like, the clone trooper build for a good period of time with Quincy Glock with Gluttony, but honestly Quincy Glock has fallen off because it got nerfed. The range is not as good as it was before. The crit, I don't know if it was always like this, but it is incredibly difficult to hit the entire thing, and for the most part, even if you do hit it, they're just gonna end up dodging part of it. We also have an aerial variant, which, if I'm going to be honest, it got cancelled here, but even if I do use it, it's very difficult to land and very easy to avoid. It does guard break, however, so you know, you will be getting them guaranteed hits, and if you can aim it, but for the most part, if the person's good enough, they're not going to end up getting hit by it. That's one of the main reasons why the Quincy Glock has kind of fallen off. The M1s are super slow, so you don't really have much build synergy with it either. So like, if I'm trying to combo somebody, they can probably get out of it if I try an M1. And just to add on top of all of that, I actually can't feint this weapon at all. So the M1s are difficult to aim, super slow, and you can't even feint with it. I know most people don't feint, but I like to feint, and it does add some extra variety to mix-ups, which makes this weapon slightly worse. Let's move on to the next one. Quill used to be one of the most busted weapons in the entire game, but it actually ended up getting gutted to the point where I would not recommend using this on any build. Previously, Quincy Keto users used this quite a bit, and it was actually pretty good, and you could even make it viable on Kendo or Speed. But now the stun got nerfed to the point where when you land it, you won't even be able to confirm a move off it. Like, I get it because, you know, true combos on a common weapon is kind of crazy, but it's so bad to the point where honestly it's not even worth using because the crit does no damage. It's blockable, as you guys can see there, where the hitbox just sucks. And the only reason this weapon is even at number 8 is because the Quincy Glock is just that much worse. Let's just move on to the next thing. Juggum Shield is a pretty good weapon. I would say the only downside is the fact that the passive isn't super noticeable, which gives you extra balance if you're using the balance, which in of itself is pretty hard to get because it's a mythical. The M1 range is pretty bad, but that is made up for the fact that the crit has super high range, it comes out super fast, and it guard breaks. So if I use this like beside somebody after like M1ing them per se or pairing them, it is almost guaranteed to hit unless they're sweaty enough to pair it, which most people are not. The M1s are, like I said before, pretty difficult to land, but when you do land them, they're almost guaranteed to hit just because the M1 animations are pretty wonky. The only reason this is only number 7 is because number 5 and 6 are slightly better, but that's just my opinion and they are interchangeable. Let's move on to number 6. Next up, we got the Cutlass. I have nothing negative to say about this weapon. It's pretty solid. The crit actually gives you extra damage when you land it. Pretty sure it's like 50% extra true damage, which is pretty good. The only real downside to this weapon, I would say, is that the crit can sometimes be relatively difficult to land. It just feels kind of wonky to me, like your character gets bugged out due to the physics of the game. But besides for that, honestly, if you do manage to land it, it's almost a guaranteed hit or guard break. Unless somebody's super sweaty, they probably won't parry it. And if you use it after a guard break, you can almost guarantee it. The crit in of itself doesn't do much damage, but it does give you a buff, so that is made up for. And if I'm being honest, this could go very much higher, but the way Quincy is right now, I just decided to put it in the middle because it could be a lot higher and it can't be any lower. So next weapon. Alright, I need you guys to hear me out with this weapon. Alright, so a lot of people kind of pass this off because I'm pretty sure this is actually the base Quincy weapon. But once you actually use it, you'll realize that it is so easy to land the crit. In this clip, you guys will see me guard break this guy like a billion times. Honestly, I know everybody doesn't play the same, so you probably won't be guard breaking everybody like this. But in my honest opinion, this weapon is criminally underrated. I could be bugging because I'm not gonna lie, it's very possible that I just fought some trash cans with this. But just try it out, guys. Trust me, I enjoyed this weapon, and honestly, if I wasn't maining Spalton, I would probably be on this weapon. Let's move on to the next weapon of the video. antithesis. I'm not going to pronounce that ever again. It's a really good weapon because of the super fast crit. It has an incredibly short cooldown. At first, the crit is pretty difficult to learn, and due to that, you can end up sometimes fumbling and missing your crit. But once you do get it down, guys, it is a super good weapon, and the crit is one of the most spammable things in the entire game because of the incredibly slow cooldown. Like in this clip, you guys will see me literally just continuously spamming it on this guy. If you're using Kendo, I would say this is easily a top tier pick for you, just because crit into something like Sonata Flow or Rising Swallow is one of the most free combos in the entire game. If you're on speed like me, you could easily run crit into like Fast Fang, or what I do, crit into my T for balance into Fast Fang, which is a really nice combo. But yeah, that's mainly the reason why this is number 4. I would say just combo starting with this is just a lot easier than other weapons. Let's move on to number 3. We got the Quincy claws, and this is a pretty interesting case because some people say it's trash, some people say it's busted. Basically what it does is it stuns you for about as much as you have Hakuda. So if I were to explain it, if I had like 20 Hakuda, I would not get stunned and I wouldn't even notice the stun. But if you fight somebody with like 50 to 60 Hakuda, you will get stunned long enough for them to do an entire move on you. So you can almost guarantee a combo started like Shiori off this. And if you're fighting somebody who can't parry Hakuda, it's basically GG's. However, another issue with this weapon is that the crit is relatively difficult to land if you don't know what you're doing. Like, I wouldn't say it's impossible to land, but if you know what you're doing, I feel like you can dodge it. And for that reason, I've decided to put it at number 4, but if I'm being honest, it could easily be number 1 or 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's move on to the next weapon. Alright boys, we're on to Spalton. This actually got nerfed recently because of how busted it is, but I feel like people are over exaggerating the level of the nerf. The crit doesn't guarantee guard break anymore, but it does like 80 to 90% posture. So if you're running a move like Eviscerate on Kendo, you can still guarantee a guard break. Literally just pop Eviscerate and then use the crit. But for me, I'm running speed, and a really basic and good combo that I like to run is literally my crit into Fast Fang, into my T, into like floating strikes, into time cut. It is so freaking free. This is my main weapon, by the way, so I might be a bit biased towards this, but honestly, I don't think it got nerfed at all. It's just a really busted weapon. The combos you can do with this are limitless, and it literally gives you a free Fast Fang. Fast Fang is one of the best moves in the entire game. I feel like the only real downside this weapon has is that the crit's windup is pretty slow. However, that is pretty counterbalanced by just having a combo started like Fast Fang or Sonata Flow, which will stun them long enough for you to land the crit. Overall, nothing negative to say about this weapon really. Let's move on to number 1. Warden not guard breaking is irrelevant because you can't react to it. I want to get that out straight at the start of this video. A lot of people think that Warden is trash just because it doesn't guard break anymore. Bro, when have you ever seen a Hakuda move or something that you can react to? Like, I'm pretty sure it's literally just claws that you can actually react to a certain level. The clip that I'm showing you guys, I'm actually beating him, but this guy's build is the most boosted thing in the entire game. Death dealing with Warden on freaking Hakuda is literally just no skill. It requires no thinking, and honestly, that's the reason why this is number 1. This is the most boosted thing in the entire game, bro. You literally just get them in an air combo, use your chain, and they're 99% of the time, they're just not going to react to it. In Hakuda, you can literally just guard break somebody in the air because 99% of your moves are guard breaks. Hit them with the chain, you will fall, but they'll literally bring you right to them. You hit another aerial, and boom, you just have the freest combo extender in the entire game. This is obviously disputable. You could put Claws at 1, you could put Spalton at 1, but in my opinion, this weapon is number 1 just because it gave me PTSD. Yeah. Appreciate everybody that took the time out of their day to watch this video. Have a great day, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. 4K by the end of the month, and goodbye.